Howdy.
Joe?
Jessica here.
Hi, Jessica. Andrea is here. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Will you all stand, please? Put your hand up to your heart. Let's begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
3.3 introduction of guests. I know we have CSU guests here. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I'm Mary Cassian. I'm a school bus driver for the district.
All right, thank you.
Mary's the secretary on our executive board for CSEA.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that.
Mateo.
Yeah, I know. Thank you.
Mr. Humphreys in the back or in the front.
All right, thank you. We have another guest.
And Maria Davila.
3.4, questions from the floor, not on the agenda. Do we have any questions? 3.5, questions from the floor on items that are on the agenda will be entertained at the time the item is under consideration. 3.6, questions or input from district employees. 3.7, questions or input from district management. 3.8, questions or input from CSEA.
No, not today.
Alrighty, number 4, report from the personnel director.
All right, so recruitments that we've opened since the last commission meeting have been Director of Physical Services, pretty much all the instructional assistant 2s. We're doing IA2 regular, IA2 bilingual Mandarin, IA2 bilingual Spanish, IA2 bilingual biliterate Mandarin, and IA2 bilingual biliterate Spanish. We're doing personal care assistant, school bus driver, senior account clerk, and speech language pathology assistant. The exams that we conducted for the following classifications since the last commission meeting were career vocational assistant, custodian, structured interview, risk manager, structured interview, school office manager, bilingual Spanish, structured interview, school office manager, structured interview, secretary, structured interview, and senior custodian, structured interview. Referral lists were issued for the following classifications since the last commission meeting: custodian, office assistant bilingual Spanish, school office manager bilingual Spanish, school police officer, secretary, senior account clerk, and technology specialist 1. New employees were processed into the following classifications: 3 campus aides, 1 community liaison bilingual Spanish, 1 computer lab technician, 5 food service assistant 1s, 1 food service assistant 1 substitute, 1 instructional assistant 2 bilingual biliterate Mandarin, 1 office assistant bilingual Spanish, 1 personal care assistant, and 1 school bus driver. So, some updates and reminders. So on July 1st, the district changed email servers from Outlook Express to Gmail. All employees now have emails that end in schools.org instead of roland.k12.ca.us. Staff is currently adjusting to the new functions that the new email service offers and recreating calendars and contacts and many other things that come along with it. And I'm sure Sharon has been very busy in technology, answering lots of calls, just from those of us who are here right now, let alone when school starts. So, on July 8, 2016, the recruitment for the speech language pathology assistant opened, which was just last Friday, and Thursday, and staff worked diligently to find places to recruit for the position. Research was conducted to find California board-approved programs, and 11 programs were located. Job bulletins were emailed and physically mailed to these agencies, and after only 5 days of the recruitment opening, we currently have 6 qualified candidates. That is really good because it's very hard to find people with this SLIPA certificate, and to find 6 already. We still have a couple more weeks in the recruitment. We were really delighted that that's already happened Also, there's a website we found that you can actually go online and make sure that their name is online, that they have a certificate. So to verify that, it's not just like they have it, it's just for verifying it as well. So that was really good job by the staff researching places to recruit, because we do want to find qualified applicants for this. All right, the request for proposal for the class and comp study will be going out tomorrow, July 13th, and all bids are due on August 1st. The bids will be reviewed for content and evaluated based on certain criteria. The consultants who meet the criteria will be, well, with the highest ratings, will be invited to present their proposals to CSE representatives, personnel commission staff, and district administration in mid-August. The recommended firm will be forwarded to the Board of Education at the September 13th meeting. I can talk with you afterwards about how we want to do this, if we want to have a special PC meeting where they could all come and present to us, or if we just want to have one commissioner and then we have CSE board, representative, district, and staff. So we can talk about how we would like to run that, because if all of you, 3 of you would like to be present, then, or 2 need or want to be present, then we need to have it as a special meeting. So we can discuss how you'd like to do that after this, okay? The Personnel Commission has had a very busy year in which 73 recruitments were conducted. That is the most ever, due to the retirement incentive happening. So 73 recruitments are a lot for the staff to conduct during the last fiscal year of 2015-16. In addition to the recruitments, hundreds of summer school requisitions were processed in June for extra hour assignments and input into the HRS system. Currently, staff is working hard to fill vacant positions and process substitutes to make sure that the school sites are fully staffed for the new school year.
Yeah, can I add something? I just wanted to, the new email address is in at rolandschools.org. I don't know if you said Roland, I didn't hear Roland Schools in there. So, and then any email that's sent still to the old email address, it will be forwarded to rolandschools.org address for at least a year.
Yeah, thank you. That would be a lot of school. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It's rolandschools.org. Yeah, and typically most of us have it with our first initial and last name, but I'm sure there's some people that you have to have different.
There's a few that are different.
So thank you for verifying that. Okay.
Great, thank you. Number 5, hearings, none. Number 6, 6.1, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of June 7, 2016. It's on reference 6.1. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Any comments or anything? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, 6.1. Okay, 7.1. Next page, item for discussion. 7.1, advanced salary step placement. A, consider approving the advanced salary step placement request from Sylvia Rivas, Director of Special Projects, to employ applicant ID 27231167 in the class of Instructional Assistant 2, Bilingual Bilateral Mandarin, at Step E of Range 17 on the classified salary schedule, reference 7.18. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll second.
Seconded. Any comments? All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Number B, consider approving the advanced salary step placement request from Alex Wallace, Assistant Superintendent, Administrative Services, to employ applicant ID 2385384 in the class of Senior Account Clerk at Step B of Range 20.5 in the classified salary schedule, reference 7.18. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Sharon. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7.2, reallocation. Consider approving the recommended reallocation request from Jennifer Kotke, Coordinator of Family Resource Center, of a vacant primary intervention assistant bilingual Spanish to primary intervention assistant. Reference 7.2. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll second.
Second by Sharon. Any comments, questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
7.3, classification study and review. Receive input from district administration and CSEA regarding the classification study for the following classification. Reference 7.3. Executive Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations, and Construction. Number I, establish the new classification of Executive Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations, and Construction. Number 2, allocate up to one new position to the classification of Executive Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations, and Construction. Number 3, place the new classification of Executive Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations, and Construction in the Skilled Trade Series. Can I have a motion, please?
Is there going to be any questions?
They got a motion first to open it?
One motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Sharon and seconded by Judy. Go ahead. Question?
So what's the difference between that and the director? Is there going to be more responsibility?
So I'm going to ask Jessica if she can speak to this. She worked directly with Alex Flores on this creation of the job description, and Alex unfortunately couldn't be here today, so they met today to discuss any possible questions.
When positions usually are vacant, it's a good time to review the current duties, and since the position was vacant, staff we were requested to review the job description because they wanted to add additional duties with regards to the construction. Currently, we pay a third party to coordinate all of our construction processes, as well as Alex coordinates from his feedback to me a lot of that as well. And he wanted this new person to take and have a lot of experience with regards to the construction aspect that we currently have due to the bonds that we have at that school district. So he requested that we create a new position with the emphasis in construction. So if you look at the job duties in comparison to the previous director of facilities, construction was mentioned in the previous, but it was more like, and you oversee this, but not really with as much day-to-day as the revised job description is created. And so we allocated it at a higher salary for that reason as well, which is not that much more, but it is slightly higher than the previous salary. So it does touch on the same thing. They're still in charge of the same business unit. They're expected to carry on more responsibility in the construction aspect than the previous director did. And my understanding is, although they didn't, the department is still changing. I imagine from the conversations that we've had that they envisioned an assistant director to come in under as well, which is why I was given the executive level director title. Just because when we're looking at comparisons for other districts, a lot of districts who have a lot of bonds like we do have multiple offices that handle just procurement, just contracts, just construction, just project management. Right now we don't have any of that within our organization, which is why we have to pay a third party to conduct a lot of that business on our behalf. And I think the direction that they're taking is not necessarily to move away from the third parties and bringing that all home under one umbrella, with this being the first step to that direction with the executive level person.
Because we do have, in building services, we have the director, we also had our construction supervisor too.
The coordinator,
So,
huh?
yeah, coordinator. So someone was there already doing the construction anyways, and which was responsible for the bonds and which was responsible for the modernization that was going on throughout the whole district.
Right, I think he's more in charge of the day-to-day and the check-offs, but I think I believe in that conversation there's a lot more to the beginning and the end process than just the running. So I think it's that.
That's what I'm trying to find out too, because I come from a background with that, with construction and everything else. We were doing that as a department with all the offices there. Why all of a sudden the change? Was there, because the responsibilities for operations is still there in the department. Maintenance is still done in that department. Facilities is still done in the department. And construction is still done in the department. That's the thing I don't understand. All you guys ended up doing was changing the director of facilities job and adding all those on there, even though already that director position was doing those 4 positions and was responsible and had supervisors in those 4 positions.
Right, so the main difference within the job description is that they've allocated a lot of more of their responsibility to fall on the director, where I'm not sure if you were to look at I don't have it with me, the director of
Yeah,
facilities.
because that's what I was wondering why that wasn't,
It didn't-
why the director one wasn't put in our one so we could see the differences.
It's on our website, so I apologize if we didn't put that in our packet, but it's not that we're talking about director of facilities.
No,
So it's-
I know that, but you understand,
Right.
on my standpoint, you guys are changing a position or getting rid of a position and
All
putting
we're
another
doing is-
position, or is it just,
We're just creating a new position
Yeah,
right now.
or-
That's what's right.
to me, it looks like all you guys are doing is just changing the name.
There's a lot of different, and we didn't start with the director of facilities, because there was more changes than just adding construction and here are their duties.
Yeah, but
There's
a lot of the job descriptions on there is general, meaning whatever is in that position, let's say construction, that can be a lot of different things.
Right.
Maintenance can be a lot of different things. So are you guys getting specific in what those certain job responsibilities are gonna be, and that's gonna be saying that on that job description?
Gosh, let me see. Try to explain this without repeating myself.
Because a lot of our job responsibilities have generalities on there.
Right.
And to a point, it's like, if you guys are gonna change the name and add those descriptions on there, are you guys gonna actually be specific on those job responsibilities?
I think that's the vision, that this person is more specifically in charge of handling that. I know that the previous person was in charge of it, but I think that there was a lot more support provided in that. That's the feedback that was given to us. Of course, we're not there, we're just getting the information from, as a consultant point of
No,
view.
yeah,
like,
I understand
So,
that.
from the feedback that we got, it was that he received a lot of assistance and they wanted to move away from that direction, which is why they wanted a revised class description where the responsibility is more heavily placed on this person's shoulders, which is why we revised it. We created a whole new position, we gave it a distinct title, and we increased also the years of experience required of it.
Yeah.
And then slightly bumped up the salary.
Yeah.
And also, when we go out to do a recruitment, we want to make sure to attract people who have construction experience and
Yeah,
know that that's readily going to be a big part of their job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about getting rid of generalities, and you guys are actually gonna put in specifics.
Right. So there is a lot of, the majority of the job description that we've written is that they oversee, yes, maintenance, operations, facilities, and construction. Whereas I think before the previous job description mentioned it, it wasn't so much a emphasis.
Mhm.
But I do believe it because that was probably a progression from before we had so many bonds where it was, I think before, previously, there was construction, but not to the extent where we're at now. And I think that, there's millions of dollars allocated to these projects, and I feel like,
And as these monies get used up for the projects that are gonna be finished, we only really have 2 main projects, that's our 2 main sites left, unless we're gonna end up modernizing all the other sites. So is that job description gonna change when those are done?
It may not be such an emphasis on construction, but on the other avenues of maintaining those new sites, as well as
Yeah,
being in
'cause-
charge of all the other aspects of maintenance and operations.
Yeah.
That's still a big component, let alone always doing construction.
Yeah, because that's what I'm trying to say
Yeah.
when I'm asking for specifics.
Mhm.
Because does that mean there's gonna end up being specifics for maintenance, operations?
like
After that,
specifics, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Specific other job, you mean other classifications created? or
No,
what you're
not
saying?
other classifications, what their responsibilities are. Because maintenance could be anything, you guys. If you guys think about it, what do you maintain? What do you guys maintain as wives, daughters, your car, you understand?
Right. Yeah. No, it's the,
It can-
maintenance is generally the upkeep of an entity. So if it's a building or a structure or an organization, I understand that the word has a
But you
broad
understand,
application.
because
right?
that's part of the issue that we're having with some of the other classifications in building services, is the generalities that you guys put in those job responsibilities. Because it
Right.
ends up being that what you end up doing is you don't give them a piece of pie, you give them the whole pie. And you go in here, this is up to you to do this. And it goes to a point that what you end up doing is, you guys are putting in such a big parameter on what they need to be, or what you want them to have experience on, that you're not gonna be able to find people that has experience on that. You're gonna have certain people that have experience in the maintenance side. You're gonna have certain people responsible for the construction side.
Right.
But the issue though too,
And it is a challenge to find a candidate who's going to be the right fit, but that's with any recruitment that we have. And so the candidate that's going to fit the best is the one that's going to have the most relatable experience in regards to the construction and maintenance aspect. So as the district has to decide for themselves who is more highly qualified or what are the aspects that they're looking for in regards to one in construction, which is the way that this is written, whereas there's other aspects that have support staff,
yeah.
like the maintenance part, like the operations part, that already has staff in place to lead those aspects. Right now, there isn't really a leader with construction. There's a person who's there for the day-to-day, but there's so much more involved than just the day-to-day.
No, I understand.
So there's
Yeah.
long range and short.
That's what I'm
range.
asking.
Yeah.
What my experience was just looking at the job responsibilities.
Mhm.
Like I said earlier, and I said a couple times, there's generalities on there. That's why I was asking, are there gonna be specific examples on what you guys are gonna be looking for?
As far as, I'm sorry,
There's-
Okay, because constructions could be anything, could be electrical, could be, are you guys asking for somebody with experience and timelines, gonna be able to give us parameters on how long a job's gonna be taking? Certain responsibilities like that, you're telling somebody, well, you know what, you have to have experience in construction. Part of the issue though too is you guys are gonna end up having to investigate this. Do you guys know what to look for when you guys are investigating this? Or are we just gonna end up cutting and pasting stuff that we see on another job responsibility that like another district might have?
Well, now you're getting into job analysis. So first is to create this class description, and then to create the minimum qualifications
Yeah.
that should make an applicant successful in this type of position. Then it's Jessica's job as the analyst to work with the subject matter expert, which we're going to have to figure out who that specifically is, to actually create a job-related exam that will get the best at all the things that we're looking at with the duties that this person needs to do, as well as the competencies that are needed.
Yeah.
And that's when we will end up having such as a technical possibly, it depends how many applicants we get.
Yeah.
We might do a training and experience evaluation based on their answers to the questions in the application, and then move those people forward to what we do a pretty good technical, we always do good technical projects, as well as then move them on to a structured interview. And the key is having really excellent raters, which we will get top level raters for this from outside the district to come in to make sure that people cannot, that they will be able to answer, know if the candidate is exaggerating their experience or not.
Mhm.
And do they have what it takes to be the best in this position? So.
Dolores, you have a question?
Yes, I had a question. My concern is that it's the district who have been wanting to have consultants. So I'm not getting, in the sense that all these years they've been using a consultant through their choice. And now when we're coming to the end, how many more years of bond money is there? Maybe 2-3 years? And now we're gonna create a position? That I'm not understanding.
I don't believe they are going to, what we've been told is they're not going to fill the director of facilities position. So there's not gonna be a director. This is the new director of facilities with an emphasis of adding construction, their construction expertise.
And executive.
Well, it's executive director, sorry, executive director. So there won't be a director of facilities, is what we've been told. And what they want to do is end up finding this person and then find out with their expertise what is needed. Do we need an assistant director of facilities? Do we possibly need to add a person that's good at contracts,
I
et cetera?
understand what you were saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying though is that you only have 2 or 3 more years of bond money to finish up the things that they have to do. We're creating a job for those years executive position. Now, is that position going to change? Because we had to do that when we had our custodian was doing the supervisor over custodians did 2 things, and it wasn't a nice transition when we broke up the job because they weren't doing the same thing anymore. So this is what's going to happen with this job. You know, and will they still be executive when they're not going to be in charge of the construction anymore?
Well,
Executive implies that they have multiple, that they have another director under them. So that's the reason most titles are given the
Well, they
exempt.
need that assistant, though.
Right.
That's what I'm, it's
So-
just like we're building a
We-
lot of,
we- what we
there's
do
a lot of
know-
men at the top.
Right, what we do know is that what we have right now is funding. We do know there's a lot of areas for opportunity within the maintenance and operations organizational structure right now. Now, we do know is that they're bleeding a lot of money within the construction aspect. So you can't blame the district for wanting to change something right now that the opportunity is there because the seat is empty. And I think that is the goal, to move forward in a more positive direction, to attract and write the job description so that it's more fitting of the duties right now. And so that's where we come in as a consultant, like we see a different vision for here, this is what it is what we want, this is the direction we want to take. So this is.
Well, I can see them, changing things in that they would hire more people at the bottom to do the jobs that need to be done and not just hire the person at the top and creating more salary for them.
I completely understand what your concerns are.
Can I just add that you old timers, the ones that have been here for years, this district in the last 15, 20 years has been moving around names of facility directors and supervisors, and we've seen that, and we have to remember that the district makes a decision. The district says we have the money, they come to us and say, make it, this position. We, over here, analyze what the position is, what the cost is, what they need, we can make suggestions. Really need
Right.
this thing.
Exactly.
We can't say, no, we're not gonna do it, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. The question comes is how come they're doing it, and what's gonna be next, and if there's gonna be no more funds in 2 years, what are you gonna do? It's not for us to say.
Right.
My question wasn't, because more than likely, they're telling you guys to change it, and they're gonna end up wanting
change it.
responsibilities. They more than likely gave you guys, from each one of those 4, responsibilities for each ones that they're gonna be looking for. That's what I'm asking for. I'm not asking for generalities, I'm asking for specifics. What in maintenance are they looking for? What in facilities are they looking for? What in construction are they looking for? That's what I was
Have you
asking.
posed that question? I mean, I wish that Mr. Flores had been here. I mean, we can't answer for the district. We don't have a
Yeah,
problem.
because you figure if they're gonna end up having you guys do the research, they must have gave you guys parameters on what to look for.
You'd be surprised.
No, I know that.
Genius coming out of this.
No, but Jessica, you understand what I'm asking?
They're like, go find me this person.
They may say, okay, do this, we finally get a position,
Oh,
as
man.
executive, he's gonna do all
I
these
wish.
4 things.
Because that's what-
And then the
that's
people
what-
come
that
around and say,
clear.
we want somebody to help this guy and take this away from him.
Yeah, because that's what I was talking
That-
about the pie.
Well, we
'cause
can,
if
we
they're
can
not giving you
ask
guys-
them,
Right.
If they're not giving you guys an example of what they're looking for in each one, you guys are gonna have a hard time trying to figure out someone to fit that position.
Correct.
That's why I was asking, because most likely, I know they just give you guys generalities, but the issue though isn't the general, it's for you guys getting specifics on what they want,
But
and
the
what they're
fir-
looking for.
The first thing now we need to do is create this,
Yeah.
this executive, this classification, and then we can look for
Oh.
those details. To me, it seems that as long as we can save what we save $30,000, like if we have this position and we're not gonna go to the consultant, hey, that's great for me, to me. I mean, I had the same questions you do. I mean, I asked for the director of facilities job description and I compared.
But I'm also coming not as a CSEA member too, as somebody that lives in the community.
Right.
That's my property tax money being
Yeah.
used for that. And that's one of the questions too I have. I go, you guys are changing the position. Let's just say that because there's not gonna be a director of facilities anymore. That's why I'm asking for the specifics. What
Ultimately,
did
they're
they
trying
want?
to save money,
Yeah.
and this consultant, this outside contractor consultant that's overseeing all the contracts of the district. So that is the goal, is to save that extra money they're spending on this firm that's doing that right
Yes.
now.
Does it even come out saving, at what point were they comparing salaries? Was it before the raise or after?
After the raise. This is the current, when we get to that point here, it's current salaries that was effective July 1st.
And that's what they were comparing it to?
And I think our commissioner's understanding is the director of facilities would be vacant.
Correct.
And so this is pretty much their job, that job, plus whatever.
what's
the-
the extra?
yeah.
Plus the construction aspect
And the
of,
monthly increase about $229
Yeah.
for the salary.
And unless we ever you know, what's the word that we use, don't even have a position, and if they keep it vacant, if the district comes to us and say, fill it, you know, that's a question. We can pose that question to the district all the time, and as you've asked questions from them, have they given you the specifics, or have they been giving you the generalities? That's the same that we get from them. We just have to work with what they give us, and what the plans are in the future. Is that director gonna end up showing up in another year or two? We don't know. It's gonna be kept vacant until they say fill it, or we have it empty so long that we finally say just to remove it from the position. So that's and that's where we stand with the district. And like I said, I wish we could talk to the superintendent and have somebody from district at these meetings. We want these answers, we'd love to have somebody representing the district here to answer the questions. We can answer for them.
And the board approved it already?
Yes, the board did approve it at their last board meeting, which was on June 28th.
So the administration initiated and bring the subject to the board, and the board approved it?
Correct.
Yes.
So it's for us to,
Just to make the
Just to
position.
create
and
the,
that's what we've done.
yeah, Ed Code says, that we have to approve the classification before we would hire anybody into it.
okay, any more questions?
I have some questions.
Go ahead, Julie.
I would like to know, we're talking about this new position, and so there's another position of director facilities vacant right now. So in other words, are we going to officially remove that position, or is still open? So in the future, sometime if we feel needs, we still going to fill that position?
Basically, you wait until it's been at least 2 years, and then we review this with the district administration to see if they are ever going to fill this position, because you don't want a lot of extra classifications on your books of positions you're never ever going to fill. So we wait 2 years, and then we would bring them back to this commission meeting to actually abolish those classifications so that they wouldn't be hiring. And if ever they decided to ever create a director of facilities again, let's say we abolish it, and then years down, the construction ends, the person leaves, and they go, oh, we don't need construction anymore, we just want director of facilities, then we can bring it back. But then that has to go back to the board to create that classification, and then it comes back here. So you're careful when you abolish positions, because it's easy to keep them there on the books if you're not sure if you're going to use them, but you don't want to keep it on there for 5 or 10 or 15 years with nobody in the position.
Another question is that I would like to know who wrote the job description, skills, knowledge, and experience requirements?
For this
Yeah.
position?
With this position right now.
The executive or
This position,
The original facilities director?
no, not the original, the new position.
I
The
did.
one we're talking about.
I worked with with Alex to create the position, and we had already started the research because we had this request last year with our previous assistant super Ryan. So he's the one who had originally posed the question, which is why we were able to turn this around so quickly. Like, we had a meeting and we literally presented it 2 days later, which is really fast. So, because this was something that they saw as a vision previously, although it was different because then there was somebody in the seat, which we didn't quite understand how that was gonna work, but again, we just present and then, move forward with their blessing. It never went anywhere, so when we had this conversation again and the position was vacant, I think it was like, okay, let's move forward. So I conducted the majority of the research and wrote the majority of the job description with collaboration and review of the assistant superintendent of HR and the assistant superintendent of business services. So Alex and Dennis.
I see, okay. Because as far as I know, Alex is in financial, right? And Dennis is HR. Do they have like extensive experience or knowledge about construction or facilities maintenance, because to me, this is a very professional area that you need to know exactly what kind of people you're looking for in order to have directors on board.
District typically, well, what they do is present to us the duties that they want this person to do for the position, and that's where we take off and with that information, and we do an analysis of other districts and their class descriptions and pull that all together to create good duties that it's not like we're just drawing them out of a hat. We're comparing, we're making sure this is what we want. We put that together. Jessica may add or delete certain duties, or more like enhance them. And then we make sure that the knowledge, skills, and abilities go with each of those duties.
Okay.
That's how we create the class description. So basically, it just starts with duties, tell us what you want, and then we also figure out the minimum qualifications, and then we do a salary comparison. So it's a very intense analysis done with using other districts, organizations, duties, and then we put the knowledge, skills, ability based on the competencies that we know that are going to be needed for the job.
Okay. My second question is that I think in the conversation we just had before that we're expecting this position to be able to at least save some money for using the third party, say consultant or professional service. And based upon the job description and the responsibility, I know that it's very intensive in construction site. And when I look at the qualification requirement, well, I don't think, maybe I missed it, but I don't think I saw that we require any professional license or any knowledge of laws, regulations, and codes in this position. So did I miss it? You know, so it's a very long description, so I was just wondering. But so, you know, because I know that all the consultants we're using, they have professional, license. They are responsible for all the advice and the works they provide. If we expect this person, this position to have that function, I think I think to me that's kind of essential when we, recruit people, the right person to the position.
Well, under knowledge of, on the page 7.4A, 2 of 6, and under knowledge of, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like the 7th bullet down. Laws, regulations, policies, and procedures pertaining to the construction, repair, and maintenance of school facilities. The next one is legal rights and responsibility of the district under applicable state, federal, county, and local ordinance pertaining to school building programs. And then it talks about legal requirements governing formal bidding processes, contractual and business functions in the district as contained in the California Ed Code, Public Contract Code, Civil Code, and other applicable laws and regulations. And it goes on to talk about that.
Great, thank you.
I kind of agree with what Mattel was saying, that for this position, it's going to be very difficult to find the perfect person, because there's so many areas you need to cover. You have maintenance, your construction, operations.
Yeah, I think you even put the physical responsibility. I mean, this person is like a Superman.
Or woman.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But,
Wow.
Super person.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to go back to the vote.
Mhm.
We're at the number 1, isn't it?
7.3.
7.3, but number 1. So we need to also look at the number 2, which is it's only the.
In 7.4, you're going to get to the actual job description.
Oh.
7.3 is just, we're going to establish, it was the conversation we just had, which we can have again in 7.4.
And the salary is not here, right?
It's coming up under 7.5. We kind of separate it so that it's baby steps in getting to this whole thing of getting approved, so.
So no other questions or comments, we're going to go for the vote. We already had a motion by Sharon and second by Judy. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carried. 7.4, classification. Number 8, adopt the proposed job description for the new classification of executive director of facilities, maintenance, operations, and construction, reference 7.4A. Can I have a motion, please?
Sure.
Second by Sharon, second by Judy. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Number B, consider approving the revised job description for the classification of Director of Transportation Services. It's on reference 7.4B. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion. Second.
By Sharon, and second by Judy. Any questions or comments? You wanna go for yours?
I'm trying to
Find
find
it.
it.
Okay, the distinguishing characteristics is the second, I mean, the first sentence, transportation needs to bus scheduling / routing to fleet repair replacement. I'm just looking at the grammar.
Are you saying from bus scheduling?
Yeah, there are two and two twos are over here, so.
From and to, did you say, is that what you mean? From
From,
scheduling,
so-
routing to fleet repair. Are you saying
See,
between
yeah, there
from
are
here
two
to
and
there?
two.
Or do you use, are you?
Are we combining?
They do
should we
everything.
combine it?
Yeah.
It basically means that they're in charge of everything in transportation as well as scheduling and routing, which they have people who do that. They have a bus scheduler person, and they also have somebody who fixes the maintenance or repairs. So basically, they're in charge of, it just means that they're from sea to shining sea, they do it all, so.
So what,
So,
so
I
I think the
mean, do
question
you
would
want
be
to change
from
something from
bus
analysis?
needs from bus
Okay, so you want to
scheduling
change that,
to,
okay. Got
yeah,
it?
you just said from.
Okay, from sea to signing shining.
Okay, can you, alrighty,
Okay, we can make that change.
alrighty, thank you. And also the next page, I have, what's a CNG?
That's a type of fuel.
Oh, it's a type
What
of
does it
fuel.
stand
I'm
for?
sorry.
Natural gas, C, something.
I could Google it.
Compressed natural.
There you go.
gas.
Thank you. I usually use Google for that, but thank you.
I'm sorry, it's for my knowledge.
That's good. No, they're buses that are now not,
Yeah,
yeah.
propane.
Yes.
Yeah, and my next question, last question is the standards, education. So this is a director, so we just need high school, is it reaching minimum, I mean, this is the minimum? Just high
Well, we
school?
haven't changed it. It's because typically Director of Transportations come from bus driving experience, and then they work their way up to possibly being a bus driver trainer, and then maybe a bus operations supervisor, and then maybe a Director of Transportation. We looked at other examples of class descriptions out there, and not a lot of districts have them. I mean, we'd love to have some with some college coursework. We did add that, supplemented by some college coursework in transportation engineering, but we really didn't want to exclude people that would make a great director of transportation coming up from being a bus driver. Because in the old days, Richard Moore used to be a bus driver, and he ended up being the bus, director of bus transportation. And many times people along the way, when they decide to do this, end up going back to school and getting their education and maybe be in the middle of getting their bachelor's degree. So basically, we just didn't want to exclude people because we're looking, typically who's going to be a director of transportation has been a bus driver. And not to say bus drivers can't have education, they can. It's just we don't want to exclude good applicants. We had a very thorough talk with the interim director of transportation about this, with Mr. Bixler and Mr. Flores about the education requirement. And the thing is we just did not want to exclude people within. Now, of course, those that, I mean, again, our job through our testing process is to test for this, and typically people who have a bit of more education and experience than others obviously do better. Not to say that those that don't have the education can't do better, but you definitely need the experience. So I think from these, this is what many other districts use. We just didn't want to exclude people because we could get in trouble if we can't defend our minimum qualifications by excluding people as well for this position, for having artificial barriers.
Do you have
Yeah.
questions?
My question is on page 2 of 9, it's crossed, it's revised, but it's crossed away already. It originally says the class of director transportation service is the only management class in the transportation series, and it's therefore unique in this field, but it's crossed away, which means it doesn't apply anymore. My question is that how many management class position do we have in the transportation department?
Just one
Just one.
management, and currently there's 2 supervisors.
Okay.
There's the bus operations supervisor and the vehicle maintenance supervisor.
So typically, this
Okay.
area is reserved for the hierarchy within the organization, but since there really isn't any other reporting, I guess we could have added reporting structure, but
No, I have no problem with
Yeah.
taking it out. I was just wondering whether, if we are taking it out, which means we should have more.
Right.
I was wondering what kind of position do we have qualified as like management position? or
Right. This would be it in
supervisor.
transportation.
And then you just answered my questions
Okay.
as to, that's fine.
Thank you.
Another thing is that, let's see. Yeah, that was my next question, that director of the maintenance and the repair programs for district vehicles, and it was passed away. So I was wondering who is responsible for maintenance of the vehicles now?
We just clarified that with the next bullet down, making it a bit more demonstrative of the duty that they were looking for. So the one we crossed off directs the maintenance and repair programs, we put plans, organize, and directs the district transportation and vehicle maintenance repair programs. So we wanted to put more like, not only directs it, but plans and organizes. It's the next duty down that we added in bold and underlined.
Okay.
So we just clarified
Okay.
that a bit better.
Another thing is the skills, okay? I was kind of, it here it says, operating a variety of office equipment such as computers, clinical hardware, software, calculator, copier, printer, telephone, fax machine. And, I was kind of confused because I thought, this is a management position or a supervisor position. Seems to me those skills are, how do I put into the right way? I'm not trying to put down anybody's position or anything else. I was just like, will this person be involved in so many things, especially like computer hardware? I mean, what kind of knowledge are we talking
There's the
about?
programming of scheduling. There's a program out there that how to route the buses, what's the best effective way to pick up the students at certain time.
Yeah.
So he is in the computer constantly.
Yeah,
And we
that's
build trips also.
use the program, right?
When that same program, it's called Route Finder,
Uh-huh.
and they do they do the routes, and then the field trips from the teachers that come from different sites go to transportation, and then the director also goes through it, because they don't want to just have one person involved in that particular thing. They want the dispatch, and if the dispatcher's not there, then the director can handle that. Like, it's so everybody knows, so that the director of transportation will also have to, even though they have specific people for that, but they also should be aware of all that computer software and everything, so that in case somebody is not there, that only one person is not just involved in that. It's just everybody. The director, the dispatcher, the supervisor. That's why they're involved in all that.
I totally understand that. I think to me, that's like how to use the program, the software, everything. But here you says hardware. What kind of hardware experience or knowledge do you expect this person to have?
Well, that's just the physical. I mean, this is normal terminology that we use for
Okay.
many of our class descriptions.
Mhm.
So we're just talking, you gotta use the hardware, which is the computer, or a scanner, which is the hardware. And then it
Okay,
talks about software.
okay. Because I thought, computer, you need to know how big the hardware is, the memory, the speed, everything like
No,
that.
just-
Okay.
It's a
Just
generic
the
term.
generic
First
term.
job.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for the clarification. I mean, seriously.
Right.
It's a good question.
Mhm. No, it is good. And that's just, we break out, it's called SCATs,
Uh-huh.
skills, knowledge, abilities, and
Yeah.
traits. So skills, there's just a couple skills there, but then there's a lot of knowledge, and there's a lot of ability, and there's a lot of traits we're looking for. So it just builds into that.
Okay. Another thing is, there's one that, in the middle of the ability to, and here there's one item says, observe health and safety regulations. I thought this more like required knowledge, right, or experience instead of the ability.
ability to observe
I
health.
think this position probably need to know all those.
Like the knowledge of it as opposed to ability
yeah.
to.
Mm.
It probably is there too, the safety, it's also safety principles and practices. We included in different sections because they do have to have the knowledge of safety principle and practices, as well as the ability to make sure you observe health and
Okay.
safety. So, I mean,
Okay.
you're seeing a bus driver or somebody in your department struggling to do something and they're having problems lifting or
Okay.
they're walking with a limp or something that's hurting them, you have to be able to say, hey, is everything okay? So you want to make sure that they're able to do
Okay.
their job properly and that they're not hurt.
Well, also in this position, there's a lot of regulations with regards to the physical aspects of the driver. So there's a lot of, you could also interpret that to be like, drivers have to have a physical every so often. They have to be, they have to comply with a lot of the safety regulations for the Department of Transportation, like their behind the wheel hours, their classroom hours. So I believe that's also written there too, that they're making sure that all the drivers are maintaining all of their licenses appropriately in regards to that as well.
Okay. And another thing is working condition environment. Here it says, work both inside and outside and over 40 hours per week. So we're talking about if this is the regular thing, and then there will be overtime issues or
No management.
concerns or.
We just want to make sure anybody working in this job knows it's not going to be a 40-hour week job.
It's not.
It is not.
Oh, okay.
The director.
More.
Director level jobs usually tend to
Yeah.
work quite a
We
bit
just want
more.
to make sure they know
So the
it's.
here says employees in this classification work both inside and outside, over 40 hours per week. Over 40
Yeah.
hours per week.
This is a management position, so overtime doesn't apply with them.
But you are indicating this position.
It's
will
gonna
work
require
over
more- oh,
40 hours.
Yes.
Very
We
well.
want to make sure that they understand this is
Okay.
not a job that's, I mean,
8-hour day job.
Okay,
they need to understand they're going to have to work till the job gets done.
okay, okay.
Yeah, this is again, common terminology for management. We don't want a management person that takes on a director level job, possibly thinking that, that they need to understand the job is probably gonna require more than 40 hours a week.
Okay, okay, thank you. Yeah, I think that will be.
So we're gonna go for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Right.
Next item is C. Consider approving the revised job description for the classification of head cook, reference 7.4C. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll second.
Motion by Sharon and second by Judy. Comments, questions? 7.4C.
I did ask the question, but I think it was answered. Central Kitchen is not a title of the building or?
The Central Kitchen is the Ruth Richard Food Center.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And we did ask Maria Davila to come, just in case you had any questions. So we always reach out to our staff. That's okay, no,
Sorry, I forgot
No,
you
no,
was
it's
dying. Sorry, Maria, just to take over.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you answer the more difficult ones. Okay, but that was good. But since Maria's here, probably Murphy's Law says you're not gonna have any hard questions. That's why we like to invite the subject matter experts, so Jessica and I can just sit here and relax about it.
I do have one question. It's on page reference 7.4C, page 4 of 10. Now they need a license requirement for food safety manager certificate. So it's a manager certificate?
It's different than
You
the,
added to it.
yeah, it's different than the food handlers one. There's two, usually in California, there's two food handler, I guess, certifications. And they're required to have the manager level. And I think it was just like they were missing a word. I think it was always implied there too.
We just want to make sure they know it's the manager certificate that takes about 8 hours to
Yes,
get, instead of the simple food service
It's a
handler,
handlers.
which is more of a 30-minute
Mhm.
quick exam that everybody has. Does everybody have to have that in
Yes.
food service? Yes.
Yes.
So,
Even,
yeah,
I mean,
food
even your
handlers, yes.
McDonald's kids
Yes.
that going to school and wanting to work part-time.
Because we don't want the applicant to just hand in the food handler certificate and think that that's the same as the food safety manager, which is an 8-hour class and cost a bit of money.
All right, thank you.
And then the third bullet down there, just so you know, is we've been adding this to all the class descriptions for food services. The USDA professional standards maintain a minimum of 6 hours of annual continuing education in areas of child nutrition programs and food safety. I don't know when that law happened, but
It started this school year. So there's a requirement for directors that they have to have a degree with a certain, if there's a certain number of enrollment or schools, then it's more stringent.
I like, I just questioning at the bend at the waist. Where don't you bend? So, but you're saying because it's a twisting motion, bringing up
It's
and
a very
putting it at
physical.
that.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay.
This one I know we did kind of look at it a bit more because we have a lot of concerns with our employees with regards to their physical aspects. This is often used by the district's physician to establish if a person's able to do their job. So we want to make sure that we will be specific with regards to the regular functions of this job.
Can we go for the vote? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. 7.5, salary recommendations. A, consider approving the salary recommendation for the classification of executive director of facilities, maintenance, operations, and construction at range 101 on the district leadership team schedule, reference 7.5A. Can we have that motion, please? Second. Sharon, second by Judy. Any questions, comments? No. Any more? If not, we're gonna go for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Number B, consider approving the salary recommendation for the classification of Director of Transportation Services at range 93 on the district leadership team schedule, reference 7.5B. 7.5B. Can I have a motion, please? Second. Motion, and second by Sharon. Questions, comments? All right. All in favor, please say aye. Motion carried. Number 8, examinations and eligibility. Bilingual, bilingual Mandarin. F, instructional 2, bilingual Spanish. G, instructional 2, bilingual Spanish. H, personal care assistant. I, senior account clerk. Okay, you received the information. Thank you. Questions? No?
Could I have asked a question?
Yeah.
I just have a question regarding this recruitment bulletin. So everything that we require is in this bulletin, right? Is there anything else that the candidate needs to know that, or not listed on the bulletin, or this the requirement?
Yeah,
That's it.
always on this, at the very end of this bulletin on page 2 of any of these bulletins, you'll see for a more detailed job description, including benefits, leave information, please log on to our website. And once they click on our website, you can see, well, that's where you would apply for the job as well. And once you
Okay.
click apply, they see all the duties, we have the KSAs on there too, everything, knowledge, skills, abilities. Once they apply, they can see all that.
Okay.
This, we try to make it just minimum qualifications on the bulletin, the salary, what the position is, summary of duties, because otherwise our bulletins would be 4 pages long. Basically, everybody has to go to our website to apply, and then they can
Okay.
see everything on the website. All of our job descriptions, all the time, are always accessible on the website, whether we're recruiting for it or not. So, like if you wanted to see Director of Facilities, you would just click on job descriptions and go to Director of Facilities, and it pulls it all up, the whole job description.
I see.
The only thing that I could think of that's not here that they would need to have or fill out is the supplemental questionnaire. Some of the jobs like the instructional aid 2 positions have a, what is it called, the word I'm looking for? The willingness questionnaire. Like it asks them questions like, are you willing to diaper? Are you willing to, can you lift and carry? Can you, additional questions.
Okay.
For the 2, it's mostly they need to understand what they're getting into, because most people don't read all the job duties, or you'd be surprised if they come to an interview and say, what is this job for? So it kind of gives them a little bit more of a preview. I understand I need to be able to do these things. For example, Director of Fiscal Services, it'll ask them more specific questions about their experience. Sometimes people are not very good about being very clear in their experience. So the supplemental questions help us screen applications. It helps us zone in on the requirements that are listed here. A lot of times it's just like reiterated again, because most people are really vague. So it's like, if you need to have 4 years of experience in public schools, it specifically asks them, please list the places that you worked in public agencies and the work, like it's just repeating what their experience is, but it helps us screen applications quicker. And those are required to be filled out for the application to be complete.
Okay.
But if the application process walks them through that, so they'll be able to see that.
Okay. So 8.2, employee selection results. Receive the results of examinations held. It's on reference 8.2. Any questions? A lot of applicants.
I see that there was a no-show, a lot of no-shows, and I can't answer why. Was it because of the date, the time, you think, or
Where do you think, which one, a custodian?
for the custodian?
Because we had a lot of
Isn't
applications.
that amazing? And we even allow them to pick the time they want to come. So we've gone above and beyond to say,
That's what I was trying to.
you pick your time when you can come, to kind of, you encourage them to be flexible with their times. Because a lot of times when we don't, they'll say, oh, I have an appointment, or I can't get off work, or, so. But it's consistently about 30% of our applicants don't show up.
At least 30.
In this case,
And-
it was probably more.
Yeah.
Well, because these also, the custodian doesn't require a lot of, you don't need to have any type of experience.
And a lot of people end up applying for a job just to fulfill the employment development department's requirement for them to look for employment. It's very easy to apply for jobs nowadays on many websites.
Yes.
You can just go online and do it, and then you just show that you've applied for a job, and they might just be using us to apply and not showing.
Time-wise, how much does that take up of us?
We always anticipate, we already anticipate that half are gonna not show, so we overbook our rooms.
No, actually, we underbook. Like, if we have 200 candidates, we'll make room for about 75 of them.
Well, I mean, just in someone checking out all their information. You know, it's, Crystal has to go through.
Oh, but for this reason, we don't even screen these applications. We just invite everybody. So it's to minimize the amount of wasted time. So we'll just include
And then
everybody.
after the fact, after the
Yeah.
testing, then
Yeah.
we'll look at your paperwork.
We include everybody, and then we say, okay, you're welcome to come. You need to schedule yourself, so that of those 200, maybe only 100 are really interested. And then of those 100, maybe 50 show up. I mean, yeah. So we try to play the numbers game to try to minimize staff
have
time and our time.
We have as few testing sessions as possible, because it's not like we're gonna wait all day for them to show up. So that's why I was saying, we only, for the 100 applicants, we only have 50 slots, like, so we force them into coming at 9 a.m. or 11 a.m. Whereas stretching it out through the whole day, having just 10 here, 10 here, then when one session fills up, we open another to really save our staff time, because we don't want to give a test to an empty room.
So do we, all the positions need to be tested? The candidate need to take the test? All the positions? Okay.
And
So
they're
in
all
other
different tests.
So in other words, as long as you apply for that position, then you need to be tested?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, a test consists of an interview, but most of the time, or there's,
Yeah, so you test first, then based upon the result, you select the candidate for the review.
Not all classifications,
Uh-huh.
there may not be a written test for it,
Okay.
depending on the caliber, such as Director of Transportation,
Uh-huh.
we won't have a written test.
Mhm.
We'll do more of a training and experience evaluation of their application. And of course, we're not gonna get 100 applications for Director of Transportation that are qualified. We might get 100 applications, but they're not all gonna be qualified, so we do screen those applications. The ones we don't screen is custodian, because there's no, well, for one, there's no minimum qualifications, and for two, we get 200 applications, so we don't need to look at their applications, because we'll look at them before they get hired. Then we have to, there's other processes we need to go through for screening, but we invite them all, and then we know half we're gonna schedule and half are gonna show up, so that now we're already down to 50 that we can manage with a written test, and then once they take that test, then we screen their application a bit further to make sure other things are there.
Now, how about like secretarial position? Do you
So
screen
Jessica
the
can speak to
application,
that.
do the test, or everybody comes in for the test?
We've started to implement a process where whenever we have about over 100 applicants, we will just allow them to come into the test.
Okay.
Because it saves time. It would probably take Crystal like 5 days to screen 100 applications with her other workload. So rather than waste 40 hours of time, we just invite everybody. We let them know that the applications haven't been screened. So
Okay.
a lot of times if they know if they don't meet them, they probably won't show up or won't schedule themselves. So once they test and we score all of the tests, then we establish, okay, well, let's look at this top, there's 75 applicants, let's look at these top 40, screen those, and then set the cutoff by there. Because sometimes it's really consistent where the ones that are at the top, they meet the requirements anyways. There's maybe one or two that we need to, you didn't provide me your high school diploma, or I don't think for secretary we had to screen anybody out that they didn't meet the requirements. So it's just to be a little bit more efficient with the time that we're dealing with 10 people or 20 people instead of 200.
Okay.
So we just have to be a little creative and efficient with our time.
I was gonna say, that's where the efficiency
Yeah.
comes into our process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's difficult. We have, one primary person attached to this function.
Yeah.
And if you look at all the recruitments, that's a lot of candidates.
Our annual report, we'll be working on that shortly, and it's going to show you the number of applications we've gotten for all the classifications that we've recruited, all 73 recruitments. It's gonna show you everything about it, how many showed up, how many took a written test, how many got hired. We wanna really stress how many applicants we deal with, and it's going to be probably over 5,000 this year, I can imagine, of the number of applicants that have applied. That's a lot of applications to manage efficiently.
I like the word efficient.
Me too.
We try to be.
Okay, we have to move on. We're at 8.2. We're going to go to 8.3. Ratification of eligibility lists. Ratify the following eligibility list, reference 8.3. A, custodian. B, school office manager. C, school office manager bilingual Spanish. D, secretary. E, secretary bilingual Spanish. F, senior custodian. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Sharon, second by Judy. Any questions, comments on the list? Okay, let's go for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carried. 8.4, removal of names from the eligibility list. Ratify the removal of names from the following eligibility list, reference 8.4. A, instructional assistant, 1. ID number 25451090, pursuant to PC Rules 6.1.10 and 6.1.10.6. B, instructional assistant 1, ID number 247118003, pursuant to PC Rule 6.1.10, and then 6.1.10.6. Number C, office assistant bilingual Spanish, ID number 9719481, pursuant to PC Rule 6.1.10 and 6.1.10.1. D, office assistant bilingual Spanish, ID number 2544185, pursuant to PC Rule 6.1.10 and 6.1.10.1. E, office assistant bilingual Spanish, ID number 247118003, pursuant to PC Rule 6.1.10 and 6.1.10.1. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? None? Let's go for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Then we're done with the, we have to go to the closed session. Number 9. Other, no questions, then we're gonna close the open session.
I just wanted to point out the next meeting is on Tuesday, August 2nd, and that is the week of the CSEA annual conference. So I don't know, I won't be here on Mary, so I just wanted to let you know that.
Anything that's really, you'll give it to her, well,
Oh, yeah.
what do you read?
Yeah, Sunday,
Sunday. I mean, just, so Friday we'd have our notes that you can kind of, if it's something you could just, let me know, put it aside.
Okay.
We'll just change them.
okay, will do. Okay, thank you.
And enjoy your conference.
Thank you, yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, a bunch of newbies are going.
San Jose?
It's voting time. So everybody's at different hotels, they're already
Well, we booked rooms at the hotels on either side of the convention center, which I can't think of the hotel names now. Okay, I don't know. I met one of them. I'll look at my paperwork when I arrive. Okay,
Yeah,
them at this hotel.
I enjoy taking the trolley. I love the Holiday Inn. We're going off center, but thank you. But enjoy it. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
Time says
I'm gonna say
5:45. Well, you can just announce that there's gonna be no decision for you, probably. Time recess is 5:45.
Is the party over?
Party's over.
I
We're in
know.
closed session.
Oh, okay, open mic. Anybody wants to, free time, say anything they want? All you Trump
Get
fans
this party going.
get to go first.
No, you gotta get to the part, let's go to the part.
I got the music is starting in.
She always gets there before that.
Oh, today's right, the,
Yeah.
is it called the?
Oh, yeah.
It's my, keep on saying.
I know, it's the,
Swing.
the name of the band.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, it was nice meeting you.
Bye.
And I'm the ideal candidate, jack of all trades, master of none. Huh? Do I fit in or what?
Wow.
The answer to all your questions. Okay, guys, last chance for open mic. Going.